Okay, so far we've learned slope y-intercept form, or what you know to be the equation, a linear equation, or the equation of a line, y equal mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. In this case, we're going to solve for x just to get our math juices flowing, but today we're going to learn about looking at the form you're familiar with, y equal mx plus b, and then a new form, which is standard form. Okay, so in the meantime, let's just get our math brain going by solving for x here. So we have what's called, remember, nested brackets, and we want to work from the inner brackets first. We're following BEDMAS. So the first step is to, again, work with the inner brackets. So we'll keep the 2 here outside. We know we'll have to distribute that 2 eventually. And we have 3, and we're going to distribute a negative 4 here times x, and negative 4 times 1. So negative 4 times x is really a negative 4x, and negative 4 times a positive 1 is negative 4. And I'll leave the right side of the equation alone. Now, BEDMAS tells us to do brackets first. We looked at brackets, but we still have brackets. So we're going to, again, worry about what's in the brackets first. We're looking for like terms. We have 2 like terms. We have a 3 and a negative 4. So we are going to add those together, and we'll get 3 minus 4 is negative 1. So we have negative 1 minus 4x equal 5x minus 1 over 7. Now we can distribute the 2 because we can no longer do anything in the brackets. So we could distribute this 2 this way. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. So we know 2 times a negative 1 is negative 2, and 2 times negative 4x is negative 8x. And that equals 5x minus 1 over 7. Okay, now we want to multiply everything by 7. Each term is going to be multiplied by 7, so we can eliminate that denominator. And by doing so, we end up with 7 times 2, negative 2 is negative 14, minus 7 times 8, which is 56, and that's 56x in this case. And then, of course, this 7 cancels out that 7. We're left with 5x minus 1. If we want to get the x's together and the numbers, like terms together, we have like terms on opposite sides of the equation. We have a negative 56x here and a 5x here. And what we're going to do is we're going to we also have the negative 1 and a negative 14. So we want to get our variables together. What we're going to do is add 56x to the left side, and we're going to add 1 to the right side and the left side as well. So in essence, it'll look like the 1's coming over, and it'll look like the negative 56x is going that way. So we have, at the end of the day, we'll have negative 14 plus 1 equal 5x plus 56x. And then we'll have negative 13 equal 61x. Divide both sides by 61, and we have x equals negative 13 over 61. Okay, so the learning goal here is to learn to write the equation of a line in standard form. And we're also going to write the equation of a line in standard form, which is ax plus by plus c equals 0. And then we're going to convert y equal mx plus z. We're going to go from y equal mx plus b, or slope form, to standard. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these questions here. We want to make y equal mx plus b format look like standard. How do I do that? Well, if you look at the standard form, the a value is not a fraction and it's not negative. So we want to make sure that we don't have any fractions and that's not negative. So how do I get rid of the fraction? Well, we just did that above. When we had the fraction on the right-hand side here, we multiplied everything by 7. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to multiply each term, this time by 3. So we will multiply, now be careful, you have to multiply the y by 3 as well. We'll multiply 2/3 x by 3, and we're going to multiply 6 by 3. So we will have 3y equal 2x plus 18. And the reason why we have that is because if you look here, we really have 2/3 times 3, which is 6 over 3, which is 2. But in essence, the 3's are just canceling out, and that's how we're left with the 2. Now we have 3y equal 2x plus 18. Well, this tells us that we want the numerical coefficient and the variable x first, and we have that here. We have 2x. I'm just copying what I have here, 2x, and I want the plus something y to go next. In that case, we have to subtract 3y from both sides, and it looks like it's coming to this side and changing signs. So we have 2x minus 3y, and the 18, positive 18 was here all along. But because the 3y's come over, we really have 0 here now. And so we could just say 2x minus 3y plus 18 equals 0. Okay, if we're going to graph this, the way we're going to graph this is we're going to write this in y equal mx plus b format first, because it's not easy to graph these right now. So we're going to say no, not in y equal mx plus b format. Okay, so but we're going to make that into y equal mx plus b format, and that looks like chicken scratch. So I'm going to write that. I'm going to rewrite that for you here. No, not in y equal mx plus b format. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to rearrange this. So how can we change this? Well, we want to leave the y on the left, and then we'll put the equal sign here. Let me write the equation first. We're going to have x plus y minus 2 equals 0. And what we want to do is leave the y on here, because we want y equal mx plus b. So we'll say y equals, and this x is going to come over. We'll have negative x. We want that first. And then the negative 2 looks like it's going over. Please know that we're really adding 2 to both sides. But for simplicity's sake, some of you in your head say, switch sides and change the sign. And that's fine, as long as you understand that mathematically, we're not just switching sides and changing signs. Mathematically, we're adding 2 to both sides. So we're left with y equal, or we end up with y equal negative x plus 2. So in this case, our slope is negative 1, and we find that right here. There's an imaginary negative 1 there, right? And our y-intercept, or plus b, is positive 2. So if our y-intercept is 2, so we can start at 2 if we'd like. That's the easiest way to do this. Start at 2, and our slope tells us it's really negative 1 over 1, and we know that's really rise over run. In this case, negative 1 for the rise means go down 1. So we're going to go down 1, and then the run tells us to go to the right 1. So down 1, right 1, and that would be another point. Down 1, right 1, another point. Down 1, right 1, another point. And so our line is really right there. Okay, let's see if I can do that a little bit better. And we'll just draw a line like this. And there we go. I put arrow on each side. Okay, so that's the first line. And the second one for B, 2x minus 3y plus 12 equals 0. 2x minus 3y plus 12. I'll do that down here. Equals 0. Let's use a different color for this one. Blue, as we use pink there. 2x minus 3y plus 12 equals 0. Again, we'll leave the y here, but please keep in mind it's a negative 3y. So I write negative 3y equals, because my goal is to isolate the y. And the 2x, again, we want y equal mx plus b, so that'll be negative 2x, switching sides. And the 12 will also come over and becomes negative 12. Now we need to isolate the y. So we're going to divide by negative 3, but if we divide the negative 3y by negative 3, we must divide everything by negative 3. We reach our goal of isolating the y, and we have to understand here that negative divided by negative is positive. So we have 2/3 x and minus 12, or minus 12 divided by negative 3, which is really minus negative 12 thirds. Well, minus negative really means plus, right? In this case, 12 divided by 3 is 4, and so we're left with plus 4. If this part here confused you, let me just rewrite that for you. So we had minus 12 over negative 3. And that's the same thing as saying, that's really the same thing as doing this right here, is making the negative go right in the middle. And so we can call that negative, and I'll erase it from the denominator. So really we have minus negative. And you'll remember that when you are working with integers, when you subtract, you can change the subtraction to addition and change the following sign to its opposite. So that's really plus positive 12 over 3. And again, 12 divided by 3 is 4. So that's how we got that. Okay. And so our slope is 2/3. Again, that's rise over run. And our y-intercept is positive 4. So that's where we're going to start, at positive 4. Our rise and our run are both positive. So this really tells us to go up 2, and this tells us to go right 3. So we're going to start at 4. And it tells us to go up 2, right 3. Now, I can't go up 2 again because I'll be off the graph. But one thing I can do is, you'll recall that we had originally, I'll use a different color here, you'll recall that we had negative 2 over negative 3. So, a little bit too light. Negative 2 over negative 3 is equal to positive 2 over positive 3, because negative divided by negative is positive. If we know that, we can use that knowledge. So although we've gone up to right 3, which is like this, we can also use this. Go down 2 and left 3. And what you'll notice is we still have these points right here for our line. So again, I can go down 2 and left 3, and we're still on our line. So that's B, and this one is A, just so we understand which line is which. Okay, and that's it. So we've learned how to effectively, in sum, we've learned how to change y equal mx plus b to ax plus by plus c equals 0. So from slope-intercept form to standard form. And we learned how to graph by converting to y equal mx plus b format. Okay? All right. And that's today's lesson. Hope you understood that. Any questions? We'll see you in class.